West. You got Cleveland having a great year. Do we still look at these current guys in the Celtics green as the favorites to be back-to-back champs?
Of course. I think it's hard. It's hard to repeat and hard to stay focused through a whole season. And if you watch the Celtics this year, they've had some up and down moments. And they've, obviously losing to OKC and the way OKC went into Boston, people started to put the question mark on, can they do it again? But you got to find motivation. I mean, if you can stay healthy, and now it's just trying to be fun again, you get everybody back healthy going into this run. I don't think nobody can beat them in a 7-game series. They shoot the three well from about 7 to 8 guys. They got 2 guys that can get you a bucket late. One thing I can say that I haven't seen this year, I don't see that same defensive identity that we saw over the last year. They're going to have to get that back where they have to start defending at a high level with Jalen and Holiday start doing some things defensively and locking down in the wing. But I like what he had. I think that it's hard to repeat. It's hard to stay motivated through an 82-game season. And even the play-in, you add this play-in stuff that they're doing. Not playing, but the in-season tournament, you add that to it. So it's hard. But I like them to win it again. I just think they're too deep, and that three-point shot is just such a weapon.
And they're still getting led by Tatum and Brown, and people are starting to call Tatum a boring superstar. What do you make of the narrative that Jason Tatum is a boring superstar?
I disagree with it. I just think, he has it's not necessarily a flashy game. He has a good mid-range game. He can shoot the three. It's just a different type of game, kind of like Carmelo Anthony. Get just really great scores from the wing. They don't need a lot of dribbles to get where they need to go. It's just different. And I just knew after the Olympic situation and how that went down, you was going to see the next couple of years of Tatum playing at a very, very high level, and which he's doing right now. I don't think that's going to be a problem at all, man. That narrative is out the window.
Yeah, and also you just mentioned it, the way that they shoot threes. They're averaging almost 50-plus three-pointers a night. What do you think of the current state of the NBA and so many different teams shooting threes at that level?
I don't like it some nights. Obviously, I was a guy that shot a lot of threes, so you would think I would love it. I think one thing that can bother you a little bit, you see, especially late in games, we don't see the guys putting their head down, getting to the free throw line as much as we saw in the past. I think that's something that, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum have the ability to do more so than a lot of other players in this league, where they can duck their head and actually score. So I think it could be a problem if those threes are not going in. The thing about the Celtics that makes them so unique, they got 6 or 7 guys shooting them. When you talk about most teams only may have 1 or 2 guys that are capable of making threes. Now the Celtics, that's where they separate themselves because they shoot the three from so many different areas.
Okay, we got to talk Pat Riley. You knew this was coming. Yeah, you won your championship with him. There's obviously been a ton of stories. It's all finally died down now. Everybody's found their homes and we're moving on. But there were a lot of stories this year, and it sort of brought back memories for some folks, good or bad. When I ask you first thing, what do you think of when you think of Pat Riley?
I love Pat. I mean, he's a disciplinarian. He likes to do things his way. And one thing about Pat, if you notice, if you look at the trend and you guys follow, when he's kind of done with you, he does it publicly. I mean, this is even back dating a D-Wade, Shaq, Jimmy, myself. I mean, it never stays in-house, and he just makes the move. He kind of does it publicly. I didn't like the Jimmy situation because you shouldn't have to start finding guys for their money and taking their money away like that. I think if you want to part ways and move him, there's ways you can do that. But to take his money and those things to kind of put this bad light on him is tough. And that's why I'm so happy Jimmy's playing really well in Golden State and kind of turned their season around. Because you can move a player and your time can run out and you can move a player. I think, neither one of those guys handled it the right way, but it's not, especially nowadays, it's not the day they handle it through the media.
It's kind of shocking, too, how it's all turned out. I mean, we started the show with the Warriors. They're 13-1 since Jimmy's in that lineup. And I think before this, when we were trying to figure out which of these 2 alpha dogs, Riley or Butler, were going to win, people were like, oh, Pat's going to win. He's been doing it for so long. And it right now looks like they didn't win this one. So do you think this was an ego-driven loss on Pat Riley's side?
I think so. But also, we don't know the behind the scenes. We don't know how much Jimmy was leading that young group that they got. But I just think when you play things out through the media, it's over. It's never nothing good that comes out of that on both sides. Jimmy, what he was able to do in Miami and get them to the finals with the type of team and young guys that he had to play with was actually was unbelievable. I don't think none of us thought that Jimmy would be able to do that and obviously get to the finals as an 8 seed one year. But now to see him have success, sign a new deal, go somewhere where a team wants you, as a player, you guys know this, and I'm sorry, as a player, you're happy for him because you know sometimes this thing can go bad for you, and it can really kill your career. But to see him be able to go to Golden State and they have success right now, and he seems like the perfect fit for them, and it seems like they're going to be able to actually make a little noise in the playoffs because of it. So I'm happy for Jimmy. But it's kind of the thing that Pat Riley does. He's done it with a lot of stars when they kind of towards the end of their career.
Yeah, and some people call it micromanaging, or maybe it's just managing, but like the weight management. We heard the LeBron cookie story. First of all, the Shaq baby oil story, that's real. Like, tell me what the baby oil does. So why would you use baby oil?
Well, when you got to put the clip, you have to do the body fat, and they put it on you, so you put baby oil on, so you could actually get the real right number. But that's a legit story. You have to do body fat and weight every week, which was fine. That's part of it. You knew that coming in. Obviously, he wanted you to maintain a certain weight and body fat. And when you didn't get it, you get fined. It was simple. It wasn't a big argument. Over the last few years and stuff, it's gotten out about different guys and the numbers and stuff like that. But I was a part of it. Got suspended once for it. Posey, and we all know how little Posey was. I mean, Pat's tough on conditioning. You got to be in great shape. He has his way of doing things, and it's respectable because you know that coming in.
Hold on, I just need to because we're all vain, right? So we're trying to figure out tricks to look our best, feel our best. Who thought of the baby? Did Shaq come up with that, or did somebody, like a friend of his, say, "Hey, what if you just had a little baby oil there and they can't get a grip"? What?
Yeah, I wish I could tell you. I don't know. I just seen the man putting all type of baby oil on his body so the thing that you check the body fat wouldn't stick to him.
It's brilliant.
Maybe he knew he wasn't gonna make weight that week. I don't know.
He must have known. That's awesome.
I gotta ask you about one of your quotes that you said in the 2016. You guys partied your way to a championship, which I love. I literally look at my sunburn right now. I got it going on yesterday.
Oompa Loompa.
I'm no stranger to mixing it up. Who on that team set up the parties? Who had the most fun on that team? I need to know details of how lit that you guys were in 2006.
Well, Shaq pretty much had parties in every city. These were regular, we probably missed, I'm going to say Utah, Indiana. Maybe there was only 2 cities that we didn't have something planned. And you guys know why those cities, none was playing those cities, but other cities
But y'all still got it in. It's still happening. It just wasn't planned though.
Oh no, we still got it in. But I always say that I never partied in place so much. The thing about that season was that you would go party with Shaq, but Shaq didn't drink, so you didn't understand. You had to know that.
Oh, no.
You're gonna go have a great time with him, but he's not drinking. So when you get up in the morning, you got to deal with shoot around. Pat ain't going at Shaq because Shaq don't smell like alcohol. You know what I mean? So Shaq is fine. It was. But I think for us, to be honest with you, it brought the team camaraderie was so good, and you hate to say that it's not like the best way to do it, but it was a fun way to do it. You would go to dinner, it'd be 8 guys at dinner. You guys know that. You don't see that in the league. When you see 8 guys going out to dinner, 9 guys.
Maybe 4, maybe 3, 4, yeah.
Yeah, so when you start seeing 8, 9 guys going out. Yeah, so it was like one of those things where it kind of brought us together as a team because our team was put together with free agent signings. Guys it wasn't a core that had been together for a couple years. You just kind of threw this team together and we just started hanging and clicking. And I think it helped us, especially towards the end of the season when we was able to go on our run and obviously win the NBA championship.
I know we touched on the Warriors, but I want to go back to it real quick because I think last year you tweeted that the run was over and everybody find new homes. And I don't think that was a crazy thing to say given what they look like and how things seem to be for the future. And now we had the Jimmy Butler situation. And again, 13-1 since he got there. Have they done something that sort of reawakened the way you look at them? Like, because I think for us it has. When they said we're going to at least get to the 6th spot, everyone sort of laughed. They did that easily. Like, do they look good enough for you to be a threat somehow?
You know what they are? They're better defensively. I know we don't talk about that a lot, but you talk about, you know, 2 premier defenders in this league, and Draymond Green and Jimmy Butler, guys that can actually really lock down guys in one-on-one situations. So you're not scrambling. It allows you to play without a true center because now you got 2 guys on the floor that can defend their guys. I think Steph has been able to cruise a little bit more. Where Jimmy's a guy that they can go to for scoring and have some different nights. They don't necessarily have to rely on Steph getting 35 and 40 for them to be able to win. Kuminga's developed. That plays a huge part. Now he's back healthy. So the pieces are starting to come together. I watched the game last night. You know, Gary Payton Jr. is back. I mean, they're getting their pieces back. And everybody, one thing about Golden State, everybody knows their role. And I think that plays a big part, too, in having success. When you got a team that knows their role, and Jimmy was able to plug right in there and get them something that they have. You know, Klay's going to be a Hall of Famer, but Klay was more of a 3-point shooter, where Jimmy's going to get to the foul line, get to the penalty, be aggressive, and really can sit down and guard guys one-on-one. So I think that's where the difference comes at.
So I want to ask you about something, because online, this conversation is starting to heat up, and a lot has been said about it. But we're considered old school now. So back in the day, you used to put together some legendary runs, man, including some of our greats and the greatest, MJ. But at that time, you allowed a young 16-year-old LeBron James into those runs, and Bron went out and said he was unguardable in those runs. What do you remember about those days?
Well, he wasn't unguardable. I think what was different about them runs, Tim Grover, obviously a legendary trainer, was a trainer at the time. So he would always, if you were a paying client, obviously you got to play first. You guys understand that and get your work in. Yeah. So when LeBron came in, obviously he was only 16, 17 years old. I mean, we had heard of him, but, you know, Tim wasn't going to let him play over guys that were playing here. So he got to play towards the end of the run. One thing that is true, he was able to hold his own, but you know how it is when them first 5 or 6 games where the runs are intense and you're going at it, he wasn't a part of those. He got to play kind of towards the end of the runs when he first came in. But you could see the potential. Obviously, when he was playing, you could see it. But as far as dominating or anything like that, no, that wasn't the case.
That's fair.
Did anybody? Yeah. So at the end of those workouts, who was guarding Bron? Do you remember at the time, like his matchup or whatever, how he was getting down?
Oh yeah, but you know we Chicago, we was at that time, Lou, we probably had 25, 30 pros. Yeah. So you know we had elite wings in Chicago. We had Q Richardson, Bobby Simmons, Darius Miles. The Bulls players played on our team. Michael Finley. Juwan Howard, myself, you had elite wings already in Chicago that were from there that we worked out together every day. So he got good run. He got good bump.
That's a fact. And 22 years later, man,